Hey and welcome, msKIRAspeaks. Before we get started, I ask that you watch the videos till the end, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. We are here today for another episode of Queens, Season 1, Episode 7, Hushacha. We're going to get right into it. This show got me all in my feelings, I must say. You will probably hear this throughout the review. All in my feelings. So the episode opens and they start with this very out of sequence, just wrong scene that pissed me off. Brianna and the ladies, they're standing in front of that billboard and Brianna says, "I've forgiven Jeff. He cheated, but I'm letting it go. I'm at peace." And I do not know why, but this really pisses me off. As we know, Jeff is already dead, and it really bothers me and burns my biscuits. And I'm not even one of those really nitpicky people who notices everything, but to me, this was just blatant. But anywho, we're gonna move on. So we see a black car pulls up, you hear somebody breathing heavily. They get out the car, they approach the ladies with the gun. Eric says, "I'll get you your money," and the person shoots. And then we flash back to 12 hours earlier. The ladies are at a photo shoot. Little Muffin pops in to join them. And the lady tells them, "Listen, these photos are going to be seen around the world." Eric is on the phone about the ladies, about their next performance. He's like, we got to get the garden for their New York homecoming. Jones Beach just ain't cutting it. Hey, Eric. Don't you knock Jones Beach. I saw Brandy perform at Jones Beach, by the way. Anyway, so he gets a call from Do Not Answer, but he goes back to talking about, billboards. Jill's checking in with Muffin, sitting down and asking her, asking her how she's doing. She says she's all right. She's broke, crashing with Eric, and the label took everything except for her iguanas. Jill tells her, listen, the tour will get you back together financially, get her on track. And Muffin's like, Eric went whisper with the label and they forgave the $750 that she owed. Now, I thought that Eric said in the previous episode, as a matter of fact, that he paid the label off. But okay, Queens. Pockets light, but now she's Morgan Freeman. Muffin always gonna have those little quirky quotes for you. This little boy. My children, y'all. The ladies cannot believe that Valeria hasn't confronted her mom about taking pictures of her credit cards. Valeria's like, she's been keeping a close eye. There haven't been any charges made on the card. She left out her jewelry, her Birkins, nothing. And she's pretty sure there's a perfectly innocent explanation. The ladies aren't buying it, but she does not want to be that old cynical Valeria anymore. Brianna and Naomi, they're talking about how it's been a long time coming, but it feels right. Eric comes over and he's talking to them about, their upcoming press conference, and Naomi's smiling at her phone. So when he leaves, we find out that it's Rodrigo. Still not a fan of this whole storyline for her, but nobody asked me. She's not sure what the point is of starting something when they're about to go on tour. And Naomi says she's never been on a date before. She was in, whatever it was with Eric, and that wasn't normal. She had a kid at 21, and she's been on the road touring since 18, or living on the road since 18. And that's not normal. Rodrigo seems normal. Brianna says that she's not gonna let her sabotage this. So the ladies are looking for something to wear on this date, and Brianna recounts her wearing a dress on her first date with Jeff and him spilling a whole glass of wine on her. And then she says he sprints from the restaurant. She thought he wasn't coming back. He comes back 10 minutes later with the "I Love LA" sweatshirt. That was Jeff. Messy, but memorable. And she asked, Naomi about her and Eric and how she didn't know, back in the day, that they were together and why she never told anybody. She's like, you literally just gagged when you brought it up. So she's like, do you think you guys will ever get back together and have a family? She's like, you was just, capping for Rodrigo. She's like, she just asking. So Naomi says, basically, she's going to take one thing at a time, and Brianna is going to chaperone her on her date. So as they're leaving the photo shoot, Eric asks, what she has, because she's got a garment bag with a dress in it. And Muffin's like, Naomi has a date. Don't be peanut butter and jelly. He says, it's good. He's glad. And we see someone sitting in the car, watching them, gloves on the dashboard. It's 9 hours into the billboard. Valeria finally confronts her mom about taking pictures of her cards. And this lady says she was in the trailer during the video shoot and her purse fell. And she was picking up all her stuff and her wallet was open and she saw the black card. And basically that she didn't think that it was a real thing and she was so proud and she took a picture of a child. Please, really? Okay, so Valeria says, you know, it's hard for her to trust people, but, because I thought she had fell for the okies doke, but luckily the next scene we see Valeria has gotten good old Rosie's prints, I think was on that black card, and she gives them to Eric, who's got a guy. We're gonna find out who Mama is. So Jill's in the studio. She's flown with none other than Wyclef Jean. And I must admit, she sounded pretty dope. She does pretty good for somebody that don't really rap. You know, she's really a singer. He asked for her advice on the track, and first she kind of, you know, tries to whatever, but then she finally gives him the reel on what the track needs. So he's like, you know, let's catch a vibe. He asked her to help fix the track, and she's honored. So Muffin, she's at Eric's house looking at the directions for some ramen. This girl, she opens the pack, she sprinkles a little season on it and bites right into the uncooked ramen. Where did they get this character from? So there's a ring out the door and it's Jadakiss and two of his peoples. Muffin, she's ear hustling from the next room, and we find out that Eric borrowed the $750K from Jadakiss. And I don't know why. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you go to your so-called nemesis to borrow money? Care to explain that to us? So he was supposed to pay him back the first 100 racks by the 11th. And this 11th. So he's looking for his money. He wants to know where his money is. And Eric says, listen, the tour is about to kick off. He's good for it. Jada says, people's words used to mean something back in the day. And he's old school. So he's like, give me my money or we're going to flash back to the old days. He has till later that night. Muffin comes in. She asks what it's all about. He tells her, don't worry. It's 5 hours till the billboard. And he tells her, let's go, because they've got the tour announcement. So Jill is late again. And Valeria is asking Naomi if she needs condoms for her date. Jill shows up and she admits that she was late because she did one song with Wyclef. It was one song. She didn't want to hide it. She wanted to do it. But she's committed to them and this tour. It's press conference time. Eric's like, don't let them divide, y'all. So everyone is asking all these questions to Jill about Jill. When Valeria's like, does anybody have any questions that aren't about Jill or, you know, that are about us, the tour, you know? So one of the ladies says to Muffin, you gave the queens your stage for the BET Awards and now you're opening for them? And Brianna corrects her, co-headlining. Simply sharing the stage with these ladies is a dream come true, Muffin says. Do better, girl. So, excuse me, y'all. Ooh, I hope I do not get a coughing fit in this video. They ask about the album, and the lady says that they're going to have an album after the tour. And the same lady asks if they are going to make it that far and what's not to stop them from imploding like they did back in 2001. Brianna steps up, gives us a long old Eve monologue. They've been through too much. They did not know they needed each other like they do now. These women have lifted me up through the toughest moment in my life, my husband's death. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, Jeff's dead, and they haven't revealed the billboard yet, where she says she's staying with her dead husband. Yes, I'm harping on it. So in the past 6 months, she says we've been through divorces, crappy performances, rehab, and still found our swag. We're sitting up here not as rap stars. We're representing every woman out there that wakes up every day, puts her feet on the ground, and gets stuff done. And we ain't going nowhere. We're here. So after the conference, in the hallway, Muffin asked Eric, like, what you want to do about getting Jada his money? He's like, you know, listen, it's not your problem. He doesn't want to tell the lady. She says she can help. She says there's a rich old Kaja, Walter Westcott, that's been in her DMs trying to get her to do a private show. She's never done a private show before because he said, I thought you thought that, you know, you said that they were corny. But she's like, if I can get $250,000 off him for an hour's work and help out, why not? So he finally agrees, but he says he's going with her and he doesn't want to don't tell the others a word about it. So Eric's guy got the info for Valeria. her mom's name, Valentina Gorgozia, not Rosie. And her rap sheet is thick too. She's been in and out of prison since a teenager. Aggravated assault, armed robbery, 14 counts of fraud. So my mom's a lying criminal? She's not your mom. She said she had you when she was 19. When Valentina was 19, she was locked up in Maryland. It's a con. And for the life of me, I do not know why that Valeria did not get a DNA test from the moment that that lady showed up. But I guess we need a show. So she says, people say that she could be so cold, she could be a bee, and nobody asks why. This is why. Every time she lets her guard down and she lets someone in, they make her look like a fool. So she takes advantage of people and things, and they look at her like she's crazy when she takes what she wants. And Eric tries to assure her, excuse me again, that that's not the person that she is, and she is that she's actually a good person, and she wants to know if her actual mom is still alive. And she's, excuse me, y'all, I'm stumbling all over my words, talking too fast, trying to get back to, I got other stuff to do. But anyway, Eric says that his guy didn't go that far, but Valeria is convinced that Valentina knows. She's on her way to kick her out her house. And Eric's like, listen, this woman is very dangerous and that you need to wait. So they're going to come up with a plan to get her out of her life safely. So she's like, you just want me to go home? Yes, just go home. Act like everything is okay. Valeria, she's not with it, but she just agrees, goes on about her business. So Jill's on her way to her car. She's in a parking garage and she sees Tina. And she tells her that she's worried about her. And Tina says, she calls bullshit. You're not worried. You're scared. You're worried that if I'm feeling some type of way, I can go to the press and expose you, and that wouldn't be good for your career. Tina says you hide behind that sweet, conflicted moral exterior, when deep inside, you are a vapid little bitch who uses their past to justify all the terrible things that she's done to people. So they exchange a few words, and Tina tells her no amount of money, fame, or love is going to make her happy because she is just evil. You're going to get what's coming to you. I promise. Your reckoning is coming very soon. She spits on her car. And she shoves past, Jill as she walks away. And Jill stands there. And Jill is shook. And Jill should be shook because Jill's been acting a whole entire ass. So Brianna shows up to chaperone Naomi on her date. And she's like, you didn't tell me it was here. We're not about to do this. We're not about to do this. Naomi says that she didn't think it was important. And she's like, it's not. But I knew at that very moment that there was a connection between that place, Brianna, and Jeff. So she tells her she can't do it. She tells her to go in there and call her if she feels like she's going to sabotage, and she leaves. So Rodrigo and Naomi, they sit there. They make their small talk. She tells him dates aren't his thing. He wants to get to know her, and he'll get to know her anywhere, whether it's in a restaurant, a date, not a date. She tells him that he's hot. She tells him he's hot and asks if he thinks she's hot, and he's like, it's incredibly simplified, but yes. So she says, like, let's get to what we both want to do. Excuse me, Miss Naomi, what? So he says, that sounds easy, and anything rewarding is a little bit difficult and a little bit uncomfortable. So he says, he can't have left her off that easy, and they go about the date. It's a little more smooth sailing, easy breezy. Muffin arrives to what is a full-out club. So much for a little private venue and a little old man. Eric is not comfortable, and Muffin has not done her research. He's like, I thought this was an old dude. And because she thought that because the guy's name was Walter Westcott, and this young dude walks up, he's calling her Muff Muff. Eric wants to know where the money's at, and dude's like, this is a launch party for my new app. What's the app? Muffin asks. He says it doesn't have a name, but they raised $80 million. Muffin says it sounds like a hustle. Eric does not want to separate from Muffin, and he wants that money up first, but Muffin reluctantly goes with this guy. Brianna's at home. She's self-reflecting. She's having herself some wine. She has flashback moments that she shared with Jeff when Naomi calls, and Brianna tells her how important it is to find someone that she has a connection with, a vibe with, somebody that's into you. That's what she had, and that's what she needs. She knows Naomi since she's 14, and she knows when she's spinning out, and that means, and Naomi's like, I like him, and it's scary. So she asks Brianna if she's good, and she says yeah, and so Naomi heads back to her date, and Brianna continues having her wine and her flashbacks. Valeria comes home to her fake mom, laughing on the couch. She's watching TV. She's like, you have every channel, it's amazing. What is your cable bill? She's like, I don't know. So she's like, oh, you need to relax. I made dinner. I'll bring it to you. But Valeria, she just could not keep it together. She's one of those people that's kind of like me. Like, once you know, it brews and festers and you have to get it out, and it's bad because sometimes you just need to keep that mouth shut. But she couldn't keep that mouth shut. What do you want, Valentina? She asked. Let's talk about this. Game over, bitch. So they talk back and forth, and Valeria tells her to leave. And she's like, I'll pack. Excuse me, ma'am, pack what? What did you come with that you have that doesn't belong to Valeria? So she says, you know, she asked if she knew who her real mom was, and she grabs her as she's walking away and tells her she's going to call the police. So Valentina grabs her and says, you're not going to do anything. And she yokes Valeria up. Where was all that rah-rah queens that she just had a minute ago now that she's hemmed up on the refrigerator? So she tells her, you know, you belong in jail. And she's like, I'm never going back. She begs her to let her go, and she does. And Valentina says, you won't go to the cops because you know what I'm capable of. And Eric tried to warn her and said, you know, if she was going to, and I said, you know, if she's going to confront her, she would have been better off having a better plan set into motion. Either she should have had came in with the cops, or had the cops in the way, or hell, she could have at least just had Eric with her. But for her to go confront this woman on her own, it was crazy. So she wants desperately to find out this information about her mom, and the lady knows that, and that's how she was able to pull this off. She says she knew who her mom was, and her mom wanted nothing to do with her. So she, you know, she figured she would reach out and shoot her shot. So Valentina wants her mom's name and this crazy lady out of her life. And she's like, all right, and you better not call the cops. Rosalind Marquez. And I'm surprised she even told her that. She's like, how do I know you're not lying? This lady's like, listen, you know about certain things, but you don't know about all the terrible things that I've done, because those I didn't get caught for. Don't try me. She leaves. Eric is watching Muffin from the balcony. We hear Biggie Who Shot You playing in the background, and Muffin is trying to keep some creepy guy from touching her hair. WW asks her, he tells her he has a surprise for her. He's like, world-class blow. Rehab was just a stunt, right? So she's like, nah, she's good. He's like, oh, you think I was going to give you $250K for selfies? Yes, WW. She did. And that's why it's important to do your research. I'm paying for the full Muffin experience, he says. He continues to pressure her, and Eric comes over and tells him to walk away. But Lil Dub security is all over him. He's like, I'm not leaving till she gets her money, and I know she's safe. And the dude asks Muffin, you gonna do this blow or what? And Eric looks at her and shakes her head. He's like, you know, I can't let you do this. So they're out. The guy's like, out of here. So luckily they both leave. Everybody's in one piece. They got no money though. Muffin apologizes. Eric's like, nah, you know, it's my bad. So Naomi is wrapping up her day with Rodrigo, and he doesn't want the night to end. They kiss, and Naomi starts to get text messages from Brianna. Jeff and I had our first date there. Every anniversary. I miss him so much. I'm drunk. Naomi doesn't want the night to end either, but she's got to check on Bri, and Rodrigo says he understands. So we see Jill and Wyclef. They're in the studio. He wants to produce her solo album. He tells her, you know, that they could start after she gets back from the tour with the Queens, and she's flattered, but she's supposed to do this album with the Queens after the tour. He believes that she's selling herself short, and she can't see what she can do on her own. You know, she's got to try. Groups don't last forever, and trust Wyclef, y'all. He knows all about that. So Jill finally asks, Jill finally says that she can't, that the group gave her courage to do what she did. Them words that Tina spoke to her, they really stuck with her, and she's like, she can't keep hurting the people that she loves. And he says, he's fair enough. She thanks him. We see Valeria. She's coming out of the police station, and Valentina's in the car across the street, watching with a gun on the passenger seat. It's 30 minutes to that billboard, y'all. So Naomi's at Brianna's house, and she apologizes for ruining her night. She's like, my night was great. She's like, she lost it when she saw the restaurant. She thought she was over the grief phase. Brianna wishes that she had been there for Naomi when she was going through things with Eric and JoJo. And then there's a knock at the door. It's Jill and Valeria. So the ladies, they're having chips and they're chatting, and Jill apologizes. And, they're like, They all done some stuff, you know, to get on each other's nerve at one point. So Brianna's dropped something, and when she goes to pick it up, she notices an envelope under the bed that Jeff left her before he went into surgery. So she opens it, and it's a password. Then we see the ladies there watching a video recording of Jeff. He apologizes for things not being great between them. He says he'll never forgive himself for hurting her. He says what a wonderful person she is and that she deserves better. All these years, she's been so selfless, putting his dreams and the kids before hers. He didn't realize that until he saw her on that BET Awards, and he tells her, you know, listen, don't be so selfless all the time. Whatever makes you happy, that's what he wants her to do. He reminisces about being in the jungle in his treehouse for their honeymoon. They made a pact that when they had kids, they would move back there, and that he can't make that happen. But his last ask is for her to do whatever makes her happy. Take the kids to the jungle, tell them that their father loved them and their mother with all his heart, and he still does wherever he is. And child, they had me tearing up. I really, really like Rodrigo, and I hate that this is the storyline that they gave him and Eve. Like, it totally sucks. So we're wrapping up the episode. The ladies all get a text message from Eric. The first billboard is up. Brianna needs a pick-me-up, so they decide to celebrate and go see it. We see a minute earlier, Eric is in the car right before he sends the girl the text. There's a knock at his window. It's Jadakiss and his boys. He's still looking for his money. Eric says, you know, he tried, and Jada says he's a businessman. And Eric thinks that he just wants some free tickets for his girl for his lady to the show. And he's like, nah, he wants in on the profits, 10% partners, up to the $750K I owe. Jada says, nah, that deal expired. He now wants 10% of the total profits. Eric says he can't. It's not his money to give. Sounds like a you problem, Jada says. After what he did before to the girls, he can't do it. So he catches one in the face from Jada, and he tells his boys to put him in the car. And then Eric magically, single-handedly beats up 3 people, with at least one with the gun, hops in the car and drives away. So we're finally at the billboard scene, and Eric getting shot. He charges the shooter, who fires off one more shot as Eric tries to wrestle this person to the ground and get the gun away from them. The shooter runs off without their gun, and Eric turns around, and they flash us to a scene of Jill praying with the girls, bunch of flashbacks back to the present, where we see Brianna has also been shot. The ladies are crying, and Muffin calls on her phone for help. Thank you, Muffin. And that is where the episode ends. Y'all, please put all your thoughts. I told you, in my feelings. I'm surprised I did not say that more in this review. In my feelings. Please put your comments down below. I know episode 8 is already out, and I'm going to try my best to get the review up for that. Hopefully I can get to that before episode 9 airs. My thoughts were, now I know they did not kill Eve off like that. I know she's pregnant and she needed a break, but damn. And it's obvious that they were really probably Jill was supposed to be the one that was shot, but they must have changed it to accommodate Eve. But those are just my thoughts. If you've made it this far, put the prayer hand emojis in the comments for our girl Eve, Brianna. While you're here, please check out some of my other content. Thank you. And before you go, like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate you. Peace.